The make money online space is a multi-billion-dollar industry covering everything from day trading to dropshipping to blogging. So today I tried one of the most underrated ways of actually making money. I got a job. Yeah, that's right, just a plain old job, which in today's world almost seems like you actually failed.
Designed to keep most of the people at the bottom slaving away.
This is Jack. He slaves away 40 hours a week at a job he hates.
But is that really the case? It's definitely something that the make money online world preaches. Those businesses are often glamorized to sell you on the idea of making thousands, if not millions per month, while really only needing to work a couple hours a week. It's an industry that most definitely works for some, but not for everyone. Because for me personally, I took this job because nothing else was really working out. Over the years, my blogs had really died down from an admittedly fantastic run. My Etsy stores never really took off, and my YouTube analytics show a pretty much dead-end plateau. Now this is all not to feel sorry for myself, but it did bring me to one conclusion. I need to move forward again. This standstill that I've been in for the last couple of years honestly feels like a complete waste of my younger years. You know how you're always told to not compare yourself to others but to your younger self? Yeah, I did that and I saw that I'm now in a worse position. And to be honest, I'm kind of fed up with that. So an immediate way of kind of remedying that is to simply just get a job, because believe it or not, there are actually upsides to getting a job. And the first and most obvious one is of course immediate income. Now I'm not going to share exactly where I'm working or how much I'm earning, but I got a job at an insurance firm where I'm going to be doing some of the marketing stuff. And with this job, I'll be paid monthly, which in and of itself already moves the needle forward. It gives me the option to save and invest, and it also prevents me from having to plunder my business account. This way I can actually invest more into the business if it's necessary. And aside from the monthly salary, I'm still making around $1,000 every month for my own business, and that's on top of the now regular salary.
Budget approved!
Secondly, a stable income makes it much more likely for me to purchase a home. Now this isn't something for the immediate future, but it's something to think about. Here in the Netherlands, when you're self-employed, it's near impossible to get a mortgage. So this job opens up yet another door. That said though, I do have to admit that actually taking this job kind of feels like I'm giving up on my own dreams. I've always really wanted to make things work on my own. I absolutely loved my time blogging, and even during the years where things weren't working out too well, I loved experimenting with different side hustles. And all of that will have to take a backseat now. Having a job takes away a lot of time that I would have otherwise spent on moving my business forward. But as I said earlier, I need to know when it's time to cut my losses. There's this book called The 48 Laws of Power, and in that book it's described to avoid the unlucky person. This is a person who has no ill intentions, but failure and unluckiness just follows him around. And for a while I've kind of felt like that person, at least the old version of me. So it makes sense for me to try and actually distance myself from him.
I would give myself an A+.
And my way of doing that was by getting a job. Dare I even say the N-word, a 9 to 5. Nowadays, it's almost looked down upon if you actually have a regular 9 to 5. And in all honesty, I partly agree, but it's a bit more nuanced than just being good or bad. There are many people out there who are perfectly content with having a regular job and a regular life. And that's perfectly fine, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I've always wanted a little bit more than that, and I don't necessarily think that a 9 to 5 is the way to get there. But just because you have a 9 to 5 doesn't mean you can't actually reach those goals. It just means you gotta be a little more methodical with your time and with your focus.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
There's this saying that after your 9 to 5, you'll have to start your 5 to 9, and that's really my main plan going forward. So I've been at this job for 2 weeks now, and I have to say I'm having a really good time. The work is nice, the people I'm working with are great, but there's also a lot of adjusting on my end. A few weeks ago I made this day in the life video, but that video is pretty much irrelevant now. My days look a lot different. I now typically wake up at 7 AM and step on my bike at around 7:55. I then bike for 30 minutes to get to work and start my day there at 8:30. By 5 PM I'm done and make my way to the gym. I then work out for an hour or so and I'm typically home by 18:45. Now I'm blessed to live in the Netherlands, so I always come home looking like this after work. And that's when the second part of my day starts. I eat my dinner and get to work again. But what am I actually working on? I was just talking about how YouTube, Etsy, dropshipping and even my blogs aren't really moving me forward. That's definitely a great feeling when I just published a video about how I'm trying to revive a blog, but that's beside the point. But yeah, I'm currently mainly working on preparing the boating site for next summer. You can see all about it in my previous video, but this is really where most of the attention is going to right now. But while working at my job, I realized the power of actually working with other people. Not only can you make very valuable connections, there's also often a lot more money involved. Your network really is your net worth. So with that in mind, as well as a prior interest, I'm also looking into something called lead generation. But this will only be a priority after the boating site is completely done and set up for next summer. I'm not not going to split my attention any more than I'm already doing. But the idea really intrigues me. It connects me with businesses and individuals that really have something going for them, and hopefully I can provide some additional value. Now obviously these days are pretty stacked, and that's not really something I'm used to.
I'm built a little differently, I guess.
Working for myself was a lot of fun, but I did cut myself a lot of slack as well. I allowed myself to be lazy sometimes, and right now there simply isn't time for that anymore. And it's another upside to actually getting this job. I'm getting into a rhythm here. There's structure and I simply have to show up and have to put in the work. And me feeling like I'm giving up on my dreams is only more fuel for me to work on my own business when I get home. It really is a win-win situation, even if it doesn't feel like that sometimes. But I hope with the added structure I can get myself in a rhythm where I'm actually productive again. And speaking of productivity, I'm actually debating on waking up even earlier, maybe somewhere around 5 AM.
Good.
This will allow me to work on my own business first thing in the morning. I'm a firm believer of the fact that the first thing you do in your day should be something that's most important to you, which in my case is my own business. That will make the schedule look something like this. Go to bed at 10 PM, wake up at 5 AM, shower, get ready and start work at 5:30. Work till 7:45 and make myself ready for work. I finish the day job at 5 PM, then I work out and be home at 7 PM. Then I eat dinner, start work at 7:30 till about 9 PM, and from there just relax for an hour or so before going to bed and doing the same thing tomorrow again. And lastly, I think it's important for me to realize that nothing is permanent. Me taking this job doesn't mean I'll need to do this for the rest of my life. And who knows, maybe this job is actually my future. It's a rather young company, so there's a lot of potential for future growth. But in the meantime, my business could pick up as well. And even if it doesn't, at the very least, I'm still moving forward somewhere, and that's really all that matters to me right now.